there's a couple of things we need to start with. Let me find my sheet of paper. So 2 people that I know of got money. So one was a PPP from a bank, and it was a BBVA bank. So BBVA is cutting checks and transfers. There's a guy here in Dallas, but he was using BBVA. I haven't seen all the paperwork, so I think it's a PPP. I also have some doctors who are calling, and they're getting checks, HHS, which is the Health and Human Services. Health and Human Services. Do this. So, and those are part of the plan too, but those are coming from, those have something to do with healthcare. And what I don't know about those is if that's also forgivable or not. So I've got some people calling. So if there's doctors out there, they just not sure exactly what the trick's going to be on some of that. Oh, sorry, I got some more people coming in late. Okay. Okay, sorry, people are coming in. Okay, so let me start back over. So so on the PPP, I know of one person who got a check, filed it over the weekend, and got a check on Tuesday or Wednesday. And so pretty good. That's BBVA. I have not gotten any word on us. I know that from Frost, they've accepted it. I know that other banks have opened online portals to start downloading the information. I don't know where all that is. I know that people are still applying even as of today. I don't know if anybody else has gotten any money, but those 2 are the 2 that I know about. And hopefully we'll know soon from the various banks here if they're going to start cutting checks. So that's the first thing on the money. The second thing on money is the $1,200. So the $1,200 is actually a credit on your 2020 tax return. So be careful. If you and your wife get a check for $2,400 and she spends all the money and you get a divorce before the end of the year, I bet you only get a $1,200 credit on your tax return, even though she might have spent your money. So be careful. So it's $1,200 per person. It is on your tax return as a credit. So if you they don't have your bank information or anything like that, then then what'll happen is when you do your tax return, instead of owing 10 grand, you'll only owe $7,600. The $2,400 will be taken as a tax credit. So let me see. So that's the 1,200. So they're supposed to start cutting those checks this next, actually Monday, I think they're starting to, for people with direct deposit. So I'll be interested to hear if people are getting checks deposited for $1,200 or $2,400, but you don't have to pay that back. It's a credit on your tax return next year. So what that means is if you owe $3,000 in taxes next year and you have a $2,400 tax credit, but you've already spent the money, that just means you spent the money early, which is kind of what they want. So that's kind of that's the individual steps. So number 2, beyond the $1,200 is all the EIDL stuff. Everybody still should be applying for EIDL. I've not heard anything. I've not got any documents or any emails from any SBA on any of my 4 applications, and the oldest one's been in there now for 17 days, 16 days, something like that. Yeah, so something, and then the second set's been in there about, today's Friday, maybe a week. But anyway, so I don't know anything about the EIDL. So even the banks don't even know really from the SBA exactly how that's going to work. Also, I keep checking my bank account, and no one's been nice enough to put $10,000 in my bank account. If they want, they're welcome to. I can always give Rhonda my information. Anyway, because she's the only one with all the money. But yeah, so what we need to do is just pay attention to those. You need to go online and check your number. And I went online and kind of messed around. I can't see if there's any notification or anything, but I think they're just so overwhelmed. I'm guessing they've not even gotten to any of those EIDL loans. There's also inside of the doc, there's a couple of things related to payroll. So Casey brought up, what were the two things? So TWC for payroll for Texas, they've moved that to a, what was it, 415, Casey? Would you tell me? Or 515? Yeah, they moved that to 515, and renditions got moved also to 515. Did I get that right, Casey? Yeah, okay, yeah, May 15th. Yeah, 515, got it. Okay, perfect, thanks. So those are renditions. Those are kind of documents that you small businesses have to deal with. But those, so anybody that's in pay cycle, we're still gonna process them on time. Well, the reason is because everybody pretty much needs to, from what I understand in this quarter, we're paying all of our taxes. We're not holding any of the tax money back. We're paying all the taxes that are needed in this quarter and through the end of March for sure. So the quarter's over. We're still paying on our first payroll. I paid all our payroll taxes. We're doing more research. I assure you, if I thought I could keep $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 every couple of weeks in the back of my pocket, I probably would. But remember, much of your payroll is withholding from your employees. It's not really your tax dollars anyway. And much of what the credits come to are really your tax matching dollars, not the money you took out of your employees' checks. Okay. So when you're dealing with payroll, you have to be a little bit conscious. So we're not advising anybody not to do anything but pay their payroll taxes. If there's some way that we can get a credit on our extended time, we may. But the credits we understand are on the payroll are for real sick people, and also for people that couldn't work, sick and couldn't work, been out more than 2 weeks. Those are some credits, and I understand that those are going to show up on the 941. Casey, did they extend the 941s, or they still do 430? I think they're still due. Yeah, still do. Okay, yeah, and that's fine, because all of March should be clean. Nobody really, and that's to you, Casey, nobody should have not paid any of their payroll taxes in March for us. So make sure all of our clients did that, and then we can file the 941s anytime. In fact, I would get mine out of the way and get a bunch of them out of the way for you earlier in the month, especially once they're clean, because 941s are going to be a mess at the IRS for next quarter, I suspect. There's also something else I was reading about. It is, let's see if I can find it very quickly. IRS, no, SBA. So under the grants, okay, government grants down. So there is, and I don't see it specifically out here, but in the small business loans, I'm reading about a product that basically says this. Follow with me. Year over year, if your sales in March or COVID related are greater than 25% down, so your sales in March of 2019 were $100,000. Your sales in March of 2018, if it were, or 2020, so sorry, 2019, sorry. So your sales in March were $100,000 in 2019. If your sales in March of this year are less than $75,000 or greater than 25% reduction, there is, I think it's up to $10,000 or more than $10,000, but you can apply, there's a formula. What I have not figured out is how to make that where I get my money from, where this money come from. So I know that the sick people are generally coming through on the 941, the EIDL, and the PPP are coming through your bank. but I'm not sure how we prove up to somebody this 25% reduction. So I don't know if David's on the phone, if he's here. I sent him an email, but it's early in this when from what I understand, we're going to have to figure out prior year and current year, but obviously March just ended and they're still rewriting this stuff. So if this is true for those affected, not for those of you who are making masks and revenues went up by 25%, you won't count for this, but those who potentially have had reduction of revenues, I don't know if ours is quite 25, but I do math a lot. I wonder if I could make it more than 25. No, I'm just kidding, Rex. So we're going to have to go through all that math and look at year over year. And for those of you who are real estate and stuff, I don't know how that works in case people didn't pay March, but maybe it's the same thing in April. I'm getting some questions about that. Rex, yeah, so Rex is so good. So anyway, so yes, we'll need to, people are showing up. Some of the money's starting to get released, but it's a trickle, and it's usually by bank. So, and for whatever reason, it looks like the smaller banks are winning that getting people into their bank accounts. I don't know if that's because they're more liquid or whatever. So as far as there's a question about furlough. Oh, I see, it's private. So furlough question. I don't know what that means. So you have to ask Susan. So furlough means you let them go. You let them go on date X. What the rule says is on date Y, which is the date that you get a check from the bank for PPP. From date Y for 8 weeks, you can't lay anybody off. I have no idea if any of the stuff in the past works because it doesn't make, all they say is on day Y, when you get a check, you need to then, you need to post that when you get that check from then on, you can't let anybody go. So if you furlough people afterwards, you won't get loan forgiveness. And I don't know what that means by prior to, I don't know what that means. So you can't fire anybody for 8 weeks after you get the monies, from what I understand. Okay, let's see. Okay, so that's the biggest. The new one is this money, and I don't know how much money it's worth. What I was reading, it was a big formula, but then it was like capped at $10,000. So I don't know exactly what it is, but anybody that would like free $10,000, raise your hand. Okay, raise both hands. Anyway, so that we'll continue to update and try to figure that out, and try to maybe by next week try to figure out how this thing works for this March over year analysis. No video. Yeah, I don't know what happened to my. I put it on my. I've seen my video and I'm taping my video, but it's not your video. And that video is on, but on my Surface it's taping. So I'm not very good at this stuff. What's the word? I need Emma, who's 2, to help me figure out how to work all the technology. But yeah, I don't know. It says it's on, but I don't know. Anyway, still learning. Yes. Okay. Good. So other people are reading about that. Okay. So good. So if your revenues are down, people are still reading the same kind of things. I just don't know how we get that money. So if your revenues are down greater than 25%, so that does not mean take all of your March revenue and move them into April. Do not do that, people. You're not allowed to do that. It's got to match the bank deposits. But nice thought there. So, but if your bank deposits truly are down 25% year over year, I will try to figure out more about this, and I'll get somebody assigned on my team to help figure out how this actually works. Yeah, absolutely. Tara, there's absolutely insurance policies. I have one. I didn't really think about it, but I actually own a small policy, so I'm gonna have to call. I may call that guy and ask him. Thanks. If there's some reduced revenues, your insurance guys, you'll need us because you got to do run over year financials. So run out of QuickBooks, and you run a by month financial for 2018 or 19 and one for 20 by month, and then they can see the differences. And now, see, I can show down the hall. And where's Joe? Joe's down there sleeping. See? Thanks, Joe. Where do you go? But anyway, so I'm trying to figure out how some of this stuff works in this technology. We're going to try to save some of this. Oh, Tara, what bank is that? Do you mind telling us, Tara, if we know what bank that is? Comerica. Okay, thanks. So some banks are slower than others. I heard BBVA cut a check. So I've never used BBVA, but I might like them now. So I don't know how they got away with doing it, but so some things are happening. Okay, so if your bank's not doing them, I don't know what to do, but kind of get on them. Our banks were on it, but Wells was on it, but they were just slow to the uptick. And I still hear they're still a little slow. But Frost has been on it, but hadn't seen any money yet. All right, I've submitted people. Oh, okay. Or okay, good. Yeah, gotcha. You did okay. I've not heard this, but I almost did this. I almost applied two of them. For two of them, I almost did that, but I chose not to file for two of them. But yeah, submitted EIDL. Yes, EIDL. No one's seen anything. Check my emails every day. What we did is I filed 4 times. 2 times the first time, twice again. One's under my name, one's under my wife's name, under different emails, purposefully to see if we get any documents or anything comes through or how it works. Not seeing anything on EIDL at the moment. I think their total focus is, I think there's 2 things going on. Number one, interest rates are going through the floor. So if you need to buy a house, I'd go buy one. If you need to refinance your house, I've already heard that there's banks out there talking about 2.5% for 15-year loans and stuff like that. So there's potential that there's some opportunities out there, refinancing some of your loans, restructuring your debt, those kind of things. Oh, interesting. I had not heard that the first distribution is done, waiting for the second one. I have not heard that. I was going to jump through and take some look at the internet, but I've been busy this morning to see what the latest updates are. My guess is what that really means is the applications that have been received at X time at the SBA are what they're doing, not necessarily what goes to the bank. So to your point, if you submit with your bank today in the first tranche is probably all gone. If you're filing the paperwork for the PPP. So are there any the nonprofits, you guys are filing the same stuff you've already filed? Okay, yeah, good. Okay. Yeah, that's good. So everybody that's got payroll, anybody that had payroll last year, that's what matters. And what they're going to do is the date they give you a check, they're going to look 2 months later, and what you have to do is say, I had 27 employees. I had 519. Oh no, less than 500. So I had 800 or 412, whatever. I had 13. I had 16. I had 9. Whatever it was. 2 months later, in my world, it's going to be one more person. Because I'm not allowed to have to pay this back because some tricky math said I didn't keep the full-time equivalent correctly. So I'm going to hire somebody if I have to. Chase, I heard, was behind, and I heard Chase was going online. Yeah. Oh, they're not taking applications yet. Got it, Chase. Sorry. Oh. Chase is online. Okay. Okay, well, I was going to keep this about to a half hour. It was really just an update to tell people that, I'll post this just so people can listen, that the real crux is a couple of people are paying. I do believe people are going to get checks now. Docs are getting checks from the HHS for something that I don't exactly know. Anybody that's doing accounting, these are all loans. Post them as loans today. We'll determine to write them off whenever we determine that you don't owe them in the future. Don't just arbitrarily book $150,000 to your revenue, even though, God willing, we won't pay tax on any of the money. So we'll know. Okay. And Casey, if people have questions about payroll related things, if someone's sick, real sick, you want to try that, reach out to Casey, payroll, she'll reach out to Susan, and then we'll start trying to get someone to help us go down those roads. I'm still really focused on tax returns. We've still got a number of people that would like to get into the market and get their refund. Oddly enough, some people with some refunds even last year. So we're still doing that. That's still my focus, but I'm trying to get as much of this out as possible, because if about 150 of my 800 clients don't get these loans, I'll probably have 100 bankruptcies on my hand. So hopefully this stuff will come through pretty quickly. Oh, Amber was on. Okay, good. Amber's listening. Okay. All right. And we'll take notes if he's got anything else. Casey, cool. And I know Abdul is sitting here. So, all right, guys, if you have any more questions, if you have any more, hang on. 2 more people just jumped in real quick. Rex went out and came back in. So anybody have a quick question? Yes, business owners and for our healthcare professionals. I've got a number of small doctors that are, they're trying to figure out how to pay. They, make a little bit of money in their in their own little company, but they're the only employee. So there's a lot of people struggling out there. So yeah, if the government would post $1 billion into my account, I'll give Rex $100 and I'll tell the rest of you where I moved to, maybe. Great question. How once the PPP is approved from the bank, we don't have any idea. BBVA paid a guy on Wednesday. So BBVA paid somebody on Wednesday. And that guy didn't even want to join us because he's off spending all of his free money. But I'm glad for him. So people are getting some of the money. And then, and his was sizable to rehire staff and stuff. So it's good. And I'll keep up these, meaning I'll update. I haven't heard back from my bank. I submitted my stuff last Thursday night. I got approval from Frost approval. I got a notification that all the documents were in on Tuesday or something. So they had all my documentation as of Tuesday and it had been processed through their initial processes, but I don't know their process back to the SBA, how that exactly works. Now, of course, the SBA has no money. The SBA just needs to sign a piece of paper generally that says, when you give Larry this money and he doesn't pay you back, we promise to give you some, or the banks will be out of business. And the Fed just released $2 trillion. They're going to buy back mortgage statements, and they're going to buy back something in the medical world. So they're going to package some, derivatives. And I think that's me hitting that ball behind you, Rex. I think that's me at Skibo. So anyway, anybody got any more questions? It is okay. That's I need one of those behind me. I need to go back to Skibo. No, I don't have any more money for you. Okay. Anybody else have any question? All right. So I will try to have another one of these on Tuesday or Wednesday. If you never hear from them again, that means they paid me too much money. And I'm fishing, looking for those. Yeah. So anyway, all right, guys, let me know. Send us emails. Remember, send emails and texts. If it's about the stimulus, put it in the memo and the subject line, stimulus. And if you get money and you just want to tell me you got a check from somebody so that we kind of know where things are, you're welcome to shoot an email and just say, hey, hey, Larry, whatever, we got our check, or we're working through this bank, just so we kind of know. There's going to be another tranche coming out. We're going to redo all this stuff. And so they're going to probably need more, probably 19 numbers. For those of you who have not finished your 19, let's make sure that we get your 19 started here pretty quickly, because that may be the next question. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I logged in twice, and what happened is I logged in through my Surface, but that only gives me 40 straight minutes because that's through my other Zoom. I got it. I see. I have two Zooms. Okay, all good. Anybody else? All right. Work hard. It's a pretty weekend. Work in the yard or do tax returns like me. All right. Take care, guys.